Hello, and welcome to a brand new YouTube channel. I'm Brian Ord, and the name of this channel is Mindful Pleasures. I named it after my blog, where I've been writing about art, literature, and cultural topics since about 2008, actually, not 1908. And on this channel, I'm going to be reading, talking about, and occasionally even performing works of literature. So, without further ado, let's begin. Since this is February 2nd, the birthday of James Joyce, the greatest writer ever born on Groundhog Day, take that, Punxsutawney Phil, we will begin with a reading from Joyce's Ulysses. So, if you will excuse me, I will repair to the bookcase, grab my copy of Ulysses, and be right back. I'm going to be reading from the Vintage International edition of Ulysses, published circa 1990. This is the 1961 Random House text, not the later Hans Walter Gabler edition, which is often used in college courses. I tend to prefer the Random House text. It just feels a little more comfortable to me. So we'll begin at the beginning with stately plump Buck Mulligan coming from the stairhead. And away we go. Joyce's Ulysses, Chapter 1. Stately, plump Buck Mulligan came from the stairhead, bearing a bowl of lather on which a mirror and a razor lay crossed. A yellow dressing gown, ungirdled, was sustained gently behind him by the mild morning air. He held the bowl aloft and intoned, Intro ibo adotade Dei. Halted, he peered down the dark winding stairs and called up coarsely, Come up, Kitch! Come up, you fearful Jesuit! Solemnly, he came forward and mounted the round gun rest. He faced about and blessed gravely thrice the tower, the surrounding country, and the awakening mountains. Then, catching sight of Stephen Dedalus, he bent towards him and made rapid crosses in the air, gurgling in his throat and shaking his head. Stephen Dedalus, displeased and sleepy, leaned his arms on the top of the staircase and looked coldly at the shaking, gurgling face that blessed him, equine in its length, and at the light, untonsured hair, grained and hued like pale oak. Buck Mulligan peeped an instant under the mirror, and then covered the bowl smartly. Back to barracks, he said sternly. He added, in a preacher's tone, For this, O dearly beloved, is the genuine, Christine, body and soul and blood and ouns. Slow music, please. Shut your eyes, gents. One moment. A little trouble about those white corpuscles. Silence all. He peered sideways up and gave a long, low whistle of call, then paused a while in rapt attention, his even white teeth glistening here and there with gold points. Chrysostomos. Two strong, shrill whistles answered through the calm. Thanks, old chap, he cried briskly. That will do nicely. Switch off the current, will you? He skipped off the gun rest and looked gravely at his watcher, gathering about his legs the loose folds of his gown. The plump shadowed face and sullen oval jowl recalled a prelate, patron of arts in the Middle Ages. A pleasant smile broke quietly over his lips. The mockery of it, he said gaily. Your absurd name, an ancient Greek. He pointed his finger in friendly jest and went over to the parapet, laughing to himself. Stephen Dedalus stepped up, followed him wearily halfway, and sat down on the edge of the gun rest, watching him still as he propped his mirror on the parapet dipped the brush in the bowl, and lathered cheeks and neck. Buck Mulligan's gay voice went on, "My name's absurd, too. Malachi Mulligan, 2 dactyls. But it has a Hellenic ring, hasn't it? Tripping and sunny like the Buck himself. We must go to Athens. Will you come if I can get the aunt to fork out 20 quid? He laid the brush aside and, laughing with delight, cried, "Will he come, the jejune Jesuit?" Ceasing, he began to shave with care. "Tell me, Mulligan," Stephen said quietly. "Yes, my love." "How long is Haines going to stay in this tower?" Buck Mulligan showed a shaven cheek over his right shoulder. "God, isn't he dreadful?" he said frankly. "A ponderous Saxon. He thinks you're not a gentleman. God, these bloody English, bursting with money and indigestion, because he comes from Oxford. You know, Dedalus, you have the real Oxford manner. He can't make you out. My name for you is the best. Kinch, the knife blade." He shaved warily over his chin. "He was raving all night about a Black Panther," Stephen said. "Where is his gun case?" "Oh, woeful lunatic," Mulligan said. "Were you in a funk?" "I was," Stephen said with energy and growing fear. "Out here in the dark with a man I don't know raving and moaning to himself about shooting a Black Panther. You saved men from drowning. I'm not a hero, however. If he stays on here, I am off." Buck Mulligan frowned at the lather on his razor blade. He hopped down from the perch and began to search his pockets hastily. "Scutter!" he cried thickly. He came over to the gun rest and, thrusting a hand into Stephen's upper pocket, said, "Lend us a loan of your nose rag to wipe my razor." Stephen suffered him to pull out and hold up on show by its corner a dirty, crumpled handkerchief. Buck Mulligan wiped the razor blade neatly. Then, gazing over the handkerchief, he said, "The bard's nose rag, a new art color for our Irish poets. Snot green. You can almost taste it, can't you?" He mounted to the parapet again and gazed out over Dublin Bay, his fair oak-pale hair stirring slightly. "God," he said quietly, "isn't the sea what Algy calls it? A grey, sweet mother? The snot-green sea, the scrotum-tightening sea. Epi oinopa ponton. Ah, Daedalus, the Greeks! I must teach you. You must read them in the original. Valata, Valata. She is our great sweet mother. Come and look." Stephen stood up and went over to the parapet. Leaning on it, he looked down on the water and on the mailboat clearing the harbor mouth of Kingstown. "Our mighty mother," Buck Mulligan said. He turned abruptly his great searching eyes from the sea to Stephen's face. "The aunt thinks you killed your mother," he said. "That's why she won't let me have anything to do with you." "Someone killed her," Stephen said gloomily. "You could have knelt down, damn it, Kinch, when your dying mother asked you," Buck Mulligan said. "I'm Hyperborean as much as you, but to think of your mother begging with your last breath to kneel down and pray for her, and you refused. There is something sinister in you." He broke off and lathered again lightly his farther cheek. A tolerant smile curled his lips. "But a lovely mummer," he murmured to himself. "Kinch, the loveliest mummer of them all." He shaved evenly and with care, in silence, seriously. Stephen, an elbow rested on the jagged granite, leaned his palm against his brow and gazed at the fraying edge of his shiny black coat sleeve. Pain, that was not yet the pain of love, fretted his heart. Silently, in a dream she had come to him after her death, her wasted body within its loose brown grave clothes giving off an odor of wax and rosewood, her breath that had bent upon him mute reproachful, a faint odor of wetted ashes. Across the threadbare cuff edge he saw the sea, hailed as a great sweet mother by the well-fed voice beside him. The ring of bay and skyline held a dull green mass of liquid. A bowl of white china had stood beside her deathbed, holding the green sluggish bile which she had torn up from her rotting liver by fits of loud, groaning vomiting. Buck Mulligan wiped again his razor blade. "Ah, poor dog's body," he said in a kind voice. "I must give you a shirt and few nose rags. How are the second-hand breeks?" "They fit well enough," Stephen answered. Buck Mulligan attacked the hollow beneath his underlip. "The mockery of it," he said contentedly. "Second leg there should be. God knows what poxy bowsy left them off. I have a lovely pair with a hair stripe, gray. You look spiffing in them. I'm not joking, Kinch. You look damn well when you're dressed." "Thanks," Stephen said. "I can't wear them if they are gray." "He can't wear them," Buck Mulligan told his face in the mirror. "Etiquette is etiquette. He kills his mother, but he can't wear gray trousers." He folded his razor neatly, and with stroking palps of fingers felt of the smooth skin. Stephen turned his gaze from the sea and to the plump face with its smoke-blue, mobile eyes. "That fellow I was with in the ship last night," said Buck Mulligan, "says you have GPI. He's up in Dotyville with Connolly Norman. General paralysis of the insane." He swept the mirror a half-circle in the air to flash the tidings abroad in sunlight now radiant on the sea. His curling, shaven lips laughed, and the edges of his white, glittering teeth. Laughter seized all his strong, well-knit trunk. "Look at yourself," he said, "you dreadful bard." Stephen bent forward and peered at the mirror held out to him, cleft by a crooked crack, hair on end. "As he and others see me. Who chose this face for me, this dog's body to rid of vermin? It asks me too." "I pinched it out of the skivvy's room," Buck Mulligan said. "It does her all right. The aunt always keeps plain-looking servants for Malachi. Lead him not into temptation. And her name is Ursula." Laughing again, he brought the mirror away from Stephen's peering eyes. "The rage of Caliban at not seeing his face in a mirror," he said. "If Wilde were only alive to see you." Drawing back and pointing, Stephen said with bitterness, "It is a symbol of Irish art, the cracked looking-glass of a servant." Buck Mulligan suddenly linked his arm in Stephen's and walked with him round the tower, his razor and mirror clacking in the pocket where he had thrust them. "It's not fair to tease you like that, Kinch, is it?" he said kindly. "God knows you have more spirit than any of them." Parried again. "He fears the lancet of my art as I fear that of his, the cold steel pen." "Cracked looking-glass of a servant. Tell that to the Oxy chap downstairs and touch him for a guinea. He's stinking with money and he thinks you're not a gentleman. His old fellow made his tin by selling jalap to Zulus or some bloody swindle or other. God, Kinch, if you and I could only work together, we might do something for the island. Hellenize it." Cranley's arm, his arm. "And to think of your having to beg from these swine. I'm the only one that knows what you are. Why don't you trust me more? What have you up your nose against me? Is it Haines? If he makes any more noise here, I'll bring down Seymour, and we'll give him a ragging worse than they gave Clive Kempthorpe." Young shouts of moneyed voices in Clive Kempthorpe's rooms. Pale faces. They hold their ribs with laughter, one clasping another. "Oh, I shall expire. Break the news to her gently, Aubrey. I shall die." With slit ribbons of his shirt whipping the air, he hops and hobbles round the table, with trousers down at heels, chased by aides of maudlin with the tailor's shears, a scared cat's face gilded with marmalade. "I don't want to be de-bagged. Don't you play the giddy ox with me." Shouts from the open windows, startling evening in the quadrangle. A deaf gardener, aproned, masked with Matthew Arnold's face, pushes his mower on the somber lawn, watching narrowly the dancing motes of grass halms. That's a good enough place as any to stop, I think, on that beautiful sentence, that lovely image in Stephen Dedalus's mind of the quadrangle at Oxford, where a deaf gardener, aproned, masked with Matthew Arnold's face, pushes his mower on the somber lawn, watching narrowly the dancing motes of grass halms. The old Jimbo could write a sentence, couldn't he? Joyce, Ulysses. If you haven't checked it out, check it out. Don't be afraid of it. It's only a great book. It doesn't bite. Unless it does, occasionally. Like Jaws. See ya.